In this video, I'm going to go over some of the available pocket video lights that are out there, whether you're looking through Google, Amazon, eBay, or any of the other sites that sell video gear. I went ahead and looked at 3 different options that are out there out of the many, which there are a lot of them. These particular ones are kind of well-known brands. I do like the Godox, the Neewer, and Ulanzi products. So I went ahead and went with those 3 different manufacturers to see what kind of lighting was available. I'm looking more for a pocket version that I can use. One of the things that I was looking at when exploring what options were available for pocket size lights was color. I also wanted to find something that provides a wider range as far as color temperature is concerned. So I kind of narrowed it down to these 3. And like I said, there's so many out there that you can pick from, and it's really challenging at times because there are so many to look at. So we'll go ahead and look at the differences between the 3 here, and also look at what comes in the boxes, and as well as in the end of this video, look at which one I'm going to go with. Now, keep in mind, everybody's needs are different, your preferences are different, so one may be better than the other. There's really not a bad one, it's just the matter of finding which is the best fit for you. I did not have these sent by any of these companies. I bought these myself, so my opinions are pretty much my own. And again, the purpose of this is to see what is the best fit, in my case, for what I need. But let's go over and see what comes in each box. We're going to start with the Godox here. In the box, you're going to notice here that, like any, you've got a manual. It comes with the actual light, and it does have this diffuser that you can take off or on. On the back end, you've got, if I can get the lighting, there we go. You got USB, and you got some buttons up, down, mode, and FX that you can look at as options, and a little LCD screen along with a power switch. Inside this, you'll also see that it comes with a charging cable. It's a USB-C to USB. And that's pretty much it on this one. Not a lot in these boxes. I mean, these are just lights. So just keep in mind there's not going to be a lot in these boxes. So really it's not a major box opening thing. This one too has some manuals. You also, on the Neewer, you also have the diffuser that is removable. Like the Godox, the diffuser is a hard plastic, which is kind of nice. And they snap in right in the front like that. On the back, if you notice here, you also have an LCD screen with the left and right buttons, a mode button and a power button on the left here. So, and of course, it also comes with a USB to USB-C or USB-C to USB cable for the charging of this video light. And on the Ulanzi is a little bit different. They do carry one similar to these here that Godox is like, as well as the Neewer. In the Ulanzi, they have another version. This is called the VL49 RGB Pro model LT001. And in this box, it does come with a lot of extra items. That's why it's called the Pro. Of course, you got a manual. Here's the light, and inside the box you've got quite a few other items that it comes with. It comes with a diffuser, which in this case is not a hard plastic. This is an actual silicone rubber type diffuser that goes right on that. In addition to that, you also have the adapter here. It's a pretty much, this one is a double-headed cold shoe mount rather than it being built into the light like these are, it's actually a separate item. Now the what I would call the nuts, or these nuts, essentially they're not metal, these are plastic from what I can tell, a little bit on the loose side. The actual screw with the cold shoe mount is made of metal, so that's what this one is. And let's see what else we got here. One other thing that these other ones do not have is this honeycomb spotlight cover. Now this one goes in place of the diffuser, and it kind of acts like the big lights, where you kind of smooth out the lights so that it kind of helps with the shadows quite a bit. One thing to note too, this specific light has a corner that's sharp compared to the other rounded ones, and that's because on the back here you've got a hole so that you can put a wrist strap or even a neck strap, so that you can take that along with you. Although, you know, being that it's a pocket light, I think I'd probably be doing more of a, well, more putting it into my pocket versus having to have it hanging around my neck or my wrist. But if you have that need, that ability is there with this specific model. Now, it also comes with adhesive backed metal plates. This is just a little plastic. It's really just a stainless steel plate on the bottom. Well, not even stainless steel, it's like a metal. And we'll kind of cover a little bit on that as I go through the features. But it does come with 2 of these plates, so that if you want to magnetically mount this, you can do that. All right, so let's go through the differences between these guys. One thing to note right off the bat here is on the Ulanzi LT001, you do not have a power cord or a USB-C to USB cable, even though it does charge the same way as the other guys. You have a USB-C port here that you would use to charge this with a cable. It did not come with a cable. So it's a pro version, comes with everything except the cable, which, you know, I think it should have, but why, I don't know offhand. But that's just something to note if you're looking at the Ulanzi LT001, which is the VL49 Pro version of the Ulanzi pocket lights. Okay, so let's go through the features. On these are all capable of doing color. You got the red, green, blue. They're all pretty much the same. As far as model numbers, this is on the Godox, this is the LED6R. On the Neewer, it is the RGB 61. And on the Ulanzi, like I said, that is the VL49 RGB Pro, also known as part number LT001. They do have an LT002, which is a 7-inch version, and I'll kind of get into that at the end of this video. But for now, we're going to do the comparison of these pocket versions first, and I'll continue on with that. So LED bead wise, and when they're talking about LED beads, you're talking about the LEDs that are here inside that light up the light. And on those, you've got 60 LED beads on the Godox. You've got 61 for the Neewer, and you got 60 for the Ulanzi. Color temp wise, there are some differences here. On the one that has the shortest range, it would be the Godox. On the Godox, we're looking at the color temp being between, on the low side, 3200K to 6500K. For the Neewer, the range for that on the color temp is 2500K to 8500K. And on the Ulanzi, you have a range of 2500K to 9000K. So that says that on the Godox, it is not low enough on the low range. Sometimes you need your color temp to be really low. This won't be able to do that. On the high side, it is limited to 6500. Both the Neewer and the Ulanzi are in that 2500 to 9000K, which is pretty good. So that's a good thing there on that. Another thing to note on these is for the Godox, you're looking on the battery and battery life. You have an 1800 milliamp hour battery with capability of providing 100% brightness light up to 2 hours on the Godox. The Neewer has a 2000 milliamp hour battery that provides up to 2.6 hours, as well as the Ulanzi, which has the biggest battery of all of these, and it uses a 2500 milliamp hour battery that gives you, unfortunately, up to 90 minutes of 100% brightness of light. So battery life wise, the winner on this one is the Neewer brand, in that it gives you the 2.6 hours of 100% brightness light, and on the low side it is the Ulanzi. And again, the fact that it has a little bit bigger battery than the others, for some reason it's only 90 minutes. Not quite sure why that is the case. Now, if you're not doing 100% brightness and you go lower, obviously these are going to last longer. Some of these last up to 10 hours depending on the brightness level that you're using for these little pocket video lights. The other thing to take into consideration here on the features, as far as charging time with the Godox, you're looking at about 3.5 hours to charge. On the Neewer, you're looking at about 2.6 hours, and on the Ulanzi, you're looking at about 2 hours to fully charge the battery. So the Ulanzi kind of is better in a way, and then the next one up is the Neewer, in that it takes less time to charge, where the Godox is kind of the loser at this point because it is at the longest charging time, and that's based on a 5 volt 2 amp charger. So, but again, it's not too bad if you don't need it as much, and being the fact that it's a pocket version, that's not totally bad. But again, the one that really comes out winning is the Ulanzi as far as charging time is concerned. Now, mount types on these, they're all cold shoe mount. They all have 1/4 inch screws. If you notice here, this one has it built in, and again, cold shoe mount and the 1/4 inch screw. So that's pretty good. It's built in, like I said. On the Neewer, and that's being the Godox, this is the Neewer, it also has it built in. So it's not something you can remove. It's really molded as part of the case itself. And again, the 1/4 inch screw here and a cold shoe mount. As far as the Ulanzi is concerned, it does have the 1/4 inch screw here. It's only on one side. And this is the cold shoe mount that you would screw in here. And that's how you would do that. A big negative that I see here when you're doing this is if you have this diffuser, you do have to watch out, because it does tend to pop off. And then when you're screwing this, if you notice, you can't necessarily screw this in flush, the cold shoe mount. You're going to have to pinch the diffuser in order to keep it in place. And I kind of think that's not exactly great. And here it is. See, it's coming off on me already. So it's a big negative for me on this particular one, is that on the Ulanzi brand, is that these don't really stay on there too good. They're likely to fall off. I think if I'm out in the field and I got this pocket version, the last thing I need is to put this in my pocket and the diffuser keeps coming off. On these, however, since these are actual hard diffusers that are actually clipped on, because if you notice there's clips here that clips them in there, it's not going to come off. It actually stays pretty good. On this particular one, it's the same thing with the Godox. They're not going to come off. That actually holds on pretty good. And you notice here, they did a nice job in that they shaped the diffuser edge to go around the cold shoe mount so that it doesn't interfere with that. So I think that's a big plus as well. I kind of like that part of it. On the Neewer, if you notice on the Neewer, that it doesn't interfere as well. It's actually, well, it's kind of, yeah, it doesn't really interfere. It's kind of overlaps, but it doesn't press it, it doesn't squeeze it. It just kind of, if you unscrew it, it'll stop short of where the diffuser is. So you can take the diffuser off and not have any concerns about the cold shoe mount screw part getting in the way. So I definitely like that on this particular one. Okay, back to the features here. We're also looking at weights. This one is 110 grams. This one's 96 on the Neewer. And you're looking at, I'm not quite sure on the Ulanzi. I did not have that available at the time. Also, the light effects on this, you have a total of 13 light effects. We're talking about ambulance, police lights, paparazzi lights, candlelight, and so on. I'm not going to go over all of them, but there's up to 13 total available on this one, on the functions. On the Neewer, you're looking at about 20, and on the Ulanzi, also looking at about 20. So Godox kind of falls short on the special effects lights, or light effects, and the other two kind of come out winning. Accessories wise, as you can see on the accessories, you have the charging cable on this one, had charging cable both on the Godox and on the Neewer. And on the Ulanzi, you do have a lot more accessories, being that it is the Pro version. So that kind of is a good thing, but in the same time, it can be a bad thing. In my case, I really don't want to carry a lot of little pieces in my bag that I may end up losing. I prefer to have kind of everything all in one together, like the Neewer and the Godox version. So that's something to keep in mind if you're looking at buying some of the pocket version video lights. So keep that in mind. Now, another thing to look at, there is the CRI, which is the color rendering index, and that's more about how accurate the lighting is. On the Godox, it is a 95. It's CRI. On the Neewer, you're looking at about 97 plus, which again, that indicates that color accuracy is pretty good overall, because you got 97 plus on that one. On the Ulanzi, it's also at 95 plus. So all in all, if you look at the pluses and minuses on this, you're looking at two initial clear winners. At this point, both the Neewer and the Ulanzi are definitely, I would think, in the better route. Although all these are good brands, Godox, Neewer, and Ulanzi, from features, and needs, these two, in my case, for me, kind of end up being the runner-ups pretty much. So let's go through some of the other things here real quick. On this Godox, if you look, the way to power that up, you do the power switch. And if I can show you real quick, that is what this screen looks like there. And again, to change from menus on this one, you've got where you can change modes. And you've got CCT, which is essentially where you could set light from low light, color temperature, which is more in the tungsten level colors, and over to the bright white up on the higher range. You have that ability to set that up. You can also, I believe on this one, by clicking on the mode button, you can pretty much switch between the actual color temp and the percentage of the brightness of the light. And there's also a battery indicator. And then you have the up and arrow switches. To go to special effects, if you notice here, you can set that via the FX button. And there you also have the options of setting which effects you want to select. Like I said, there's a total of 13. I won't get into that. But that is what's available there. Oh, another thing to note here, this one does have cold shoe mounts on the top and on the sides, so that if you wanted to add additional ones to it, you could. I mean, if you got a variety of different ones or same type, if I can get that in there, and I'm having a little difficulty. So you can add two together like that if you want. It's the same for this is the Godox, it's the same for the Neewer. You also have cold shoes on the side, and on the back end here, similar to that of the Godox on the Neewer, you can turn on the power to get light. And if you notice, there's the LCD screen. On this one, you click on mode to switch from the CCT to the color mode. And by the way, on these, when you're looking at color modes, it's a range of numbers or values. So you have H for one value, and then S, I believe, saturation, and the hue. H is for hue and S is for saturation. And you can shift between these. And typically I go saturation of 100, and then I do the hue, which by changing the value of the hue, it also changes the color. And this is kind of a clue on the bar here of the range. In the low range, you're kind of got red, yellows, green. And as you go up on the numbers, goes to the blue and then into the reds. So that is what that little bar is trying to figure out, and that's just to give you an idea of what your color ranges are. And you can actually look at the numbers, and if you want, there's no real specific set value. You just kind of have to go through the range. And this one also for the effects, you have effects as well. Like I said, there's 20 in that, and that's what you have there. And power button here just to power it off if you want, and that's it. So that's one right here for this one. On the Ulanzi, your power button's on the side here. Oh, let's go over what this does not have cold shoe mounts on the sides. Instead, it's got magnets, so you can magnetically attach multiples if you want. So that's just a little different way of doing it, but there is no cold shoe mounts on this. So if you have a microphone with a cold shoe mount, you're not going to be able to mount it on this. Now this one also has the LCD screen there, and it's pretty much the same functions. You have the what one would consider the mode button, which would be kind of like what this is here. And that lets you switch between the CCT mode. It lets you switch between the RGB, which is the hue and saturation. And then you can also switch to the effects, or what they call different scenes. And then you also have the plus minus, which would be the up, down, or left, right movements for the menu options. I won't get into all the details. There's lots of videos that cover that, but I figured I'd just kind of give you a general idea of what that is like. Anyway, so another thing to look at on these, they are all magnetic. Now going back to the magnetic capability of these guys, they all have the ability to magnetically attach to things. There is a difference between the three, and I'll go over that. On this guy here, this is, although it does have the cold shoe mounts on the sides, it is magnetic. It is magnetic right here. So if you look, I can have this just magnetically attached to something. Of course, it'll slide if it's on the wall. I'm trying not to get it to slide, but definitely this is magnetic. If we look at, and this is for the Godox, on the Neewer, it's the same thing. It is magnetic on the back end. So if you wanted to attach it, it does feel a lot stronger than the Godox, but it definitely is magnetic. So they do have that magnetic. On the Ulanzi, it is magnetic in the back as well. Oops, and here's this problem again. And you also have it being magnetic on the sides. It does not have the cold shoe mount, but it is magnetic. So that's what you're looking at here. So that's one thing to look at about this. If you like that, I think that's pretty good. This, to me, personally, on my end, for what I'm looking at, this keeps falling off, is not a great thing for me. And looking at this, there's just no way to keep this guy in place. Because it does have that sharp corner here, you do have to make sure that that is set up the right way, and I do have to unscrew this to get that on there. Even if I were to tighten this cold shoe mount here, it's still gonna probably loosen up, and if I put this in a bag, more than likely it will pop off like that either way. So I'm not too hot about it. I like it. I really thought it was gonna be a good product, but unfortunately that is not working for me. So there you have it, pretty much all the features and what is in the box, as well as you got a good idea what the comparison is between these. As far as what I would choose personally for what my needs are, I'm pretty much decided that I'm going to go with the Neewer. And the key things for the Neewer for me is, one, it's got a good hard diffuser that's not going to come off if I put it in my pocket backpack. I'm not going to worry about it. I like the fact that the cold shoe mount is built in, so that's one less piece that I have to worry about losing or misplacing. So that's another thing I do like. The charging time on this guy, I definitely like. It's at the midpoint, but better than the 3.6 hours that the Godox has. This to me is a lot better as far as charging time, and it may not be as sophisticated as the Pro version of the Ulanzi, but it definitely works as far as ease of use on the menus, as well as giving me the kind of lighting I need, and as well giving me color lighting, which is one thing that I was looking at. Also, the color temperature range, again, that is at the 2500 to 8500K. On average, I'm usually looking at 5600 for daylight, as well as kind of leaning down to maybe 4K, maybe 3.7K, 2.7K, 2700K that is. And so that is in the range that I'm looking at using for lighting. I may go very low lighting for some nighttime shots, so that is another thing, another reason why I was kind of leaning towards the Neewer, and that is the one I'm going to pick. Now, quick bonus here to talk about another Ulanzi product, and this is the 7-inch pocket video light. Now for this specific one, I'm going to keep it, and I'll kind of go over, I'm going to shift our other candidates and talk about, oh, and by the way, this here is my old VL49 light, which I've had for a few years. The one thing I didn't like about this one is not color, and it is normal light color temps. Unfortunately, it was limited to just 5 color temp levels, so that kind of was not something I liked about it, but I still use it. It's still a good light, and it, like I said, it's been a good workhorse. It's kind of held up good. So Ulanzi is a good brand, but unfortunately Neewer kind of won over based on features overall. Now, on the Ulanzi line, the Pro version, there is an LT002, which is this one right here. And this one I'm going to keep, and I kind of go through some of the features. So on this one, out of the box, what you have is very similar to the LT001 in that, of course, you got the manual, and you do come with the light. Now, this is one reason I'm going to keep the Ulanzi 7-inch versus the Ulanzi pocket video light, which is, you know, the smaller version. And the reason I'm going to keep this one is because I like the diffuser on this guy. Why they didn't wrap this around the whole thing like they did with the 7-inch Ulanzi light, if you notice here, it is silicone-based diffuser. But again, what I really like about this guy is that it wraps around the whole unit, so it's not going to come off. So that's one nice thing. I'll get through some more things about this guy. So let's look at the rest of the stuff that's in here. Like the Pro version, it does come with the honeycomb spotlight cover. Again, this light, this is for when you want to kind of soften up those shadows when you're shining the light at something. So if you notice, that's real easy to take off. This one too, when you put this in here, now keep in mind, it's hard to tell with this one, but you've got a hole here for the light switch, and you've got a hole down at the bottom here for the 1/4-inch screw for the cold shoe mount, as well as the USB connector right here. So, but it does go in. Again, this is silicone rubber based, and it does go on. But again, the nice thing about this guy, if I did get this correct, is that once you put it on and it does wrap around, it's not going to come off. So that's the nice thing about it, is just it's not going to come off at all. So I do like that, and I did like the fact that it has this honeycomb spotlight cover. I think it's pretty good. My real plus again is having the light diffuser. This is key for me. Again, it has the holes for the, it's hard to see, but for the 1/4-inch screw for the cold shoe mount, as well as the USB port, and of course your switch. Now, let's see what else comes in here. And this is the interesting thing. On the LT001 pocket video light, the little one, there's no charging cable, but I've got a charging cable for this guy, and it's a long USB-C to USB cable. So that's kind of nice. And why they didn't do it for the other one, I don't know, but it does come there for the 7-inch. You also have like the LT001, the smaller version. You do have the two metal plates with the 3M adhesive in the back end to adhere to surfaces that are not magnetic. So it does come with that. And on this light, it's the same type of menuing system. Going over to the features, yes, it's a color light. It is, again, an LT002 model. It is a 7-inch light. The color temp range on this, like its smaller version, it is from 2500K to 9000K. The battery itself is a 4000 milliamp hour battery. And I believe this one at 100% brightness, you're looking at up to 2 hours of power. Charging time for this guy does take a little bit longer, being that it's a bigger battery. It can take up to 3 hours to charge. And mount type on this, it is a cold shoe mount. Now here's the thing. This one did come with the USB-C. The LT002 Ulanzi light came with the USB-C to USB cable, but it does not come with a cold shoe mount. But on the pocket version, the LT001 does come with a cold shoe mount, but no charging cable. So why, I don't know. That's interesting, but I guess it's because most of these larger lights don't have a cold shoe mount. They typically will have a screw here so that you can have kind of like a folding cold shoe mount. The other thing here, like the smaller version, the LT001, you do have a deal for a neck strap or a wrist strap. Why, I don't know. Again, I usually would put this in my pocket, but again, it does have that sharp corner. Now, I'm going to put this on here. Like I said, this is so easy to take on and off, and I do like that. And like I said, this will fit perfect in my backpacks with no problems. The light switch with the diffuser is a little bit tough to get to. You do have to use your nails there. It is slow to start, I've noticed, to get the light on. I got the light on here. I won't shine it on the camera. But you've got the same menuing system. You do have a button here to switch modes. You can go from the CCT, which is your white light or regular light, along with the RGB, where you have the hue and the saturation settings that you can do. And again, that's where you can do different colors. Like right now, I've got a little bit of a, see if I can do that, a little bit of a pink. It's hard to see in the light, but here's kind of like what I've got here. But you can adjust the hue on this one as well to get, and you're using the up down arrow button here to get to the one you want to get to. And if you notice here, if I increase the number on the hue, and it's hard to see in the menu here, I do need to increase saturation. The one thing I've noticed, if you don't have your saturation set to 100% or even a higher value, you're not going to be able to change the color as much as you would if you had your saturation at a higher. I would usually set it to 100% or 100 total on the saturation. Should be 100%. And once you got it to that, now you've got the hue that you can pretty much adjust. I do have it at 32% brightness right now just for this demonstration, but if you look real quick, I can adjust. I'm holding on to the hue button to increase the value, and as it increases, it changes the color. It's kind of a downside kind of thing that you have to really hold on to it for a while to get to that blue, for example. I can't just jump right into blue or green or red. I pretty much have to hold a button. So it could be a negative, but that's how pretty much all these lights are. So it's what it is, and that's what I'm going to deal with. But definitely you've got the option there to select what color you want for this. So for the majority, I'd probably be using it mostly for normal bright lights, that kind of thing, but I'll definitely be playing more with the color lighting as well. So overall, this is a nice light. Oh, as far as color beads on this, by the way, it's about 126 color beads. The CRI, or the color rendering index, on this is also 95 plus, like the other Ulanzi LT001. So as far as what accessories come with it, you pretty much see what is here. Again, this is a Pro version as well. So LT001 Pro version, and this is the LT002 Pro version of the Ulanzi line. So there you have it. These are the lights that we're dealing with that are available out there. You know, you can go to Google and search for all the different lights that are sold out there. You'll see some that look very much the same as far as pocket video lights. Same thing with the 7-inch video lights as well. There's so many out there that you can pick from, and it's really hard to decide on which one to go. I went with Godox, Neewer, and Ulanzi because I know those are brands that are well known. I've dealt with their different products here and there along the way, and I've had good successes with these products. There are other bigger brands as well, but these are the ones I kind of narrowed it down to just to keep my sanity, because yes, there is so many out there. And you know, like anything, just make a list of what your needs are, look at the products, and I hope that by me showing you the different options here, hopefully this will give you an idea on how to go about looking for a light. And by the way, I did get lucky, and I did get these all pretty much well under $30. They do vary in pricing. Sometimes they go up. I've noticed Amazon, if you're a Prime member, sometimes you do get some sales that kick in, and you kind of jump at them when you do, because usually about a couple of days later the sale's gone. So I kind of look for this in different ways, even eBay. There's different companies that you can go to look for video lighting, but definitely it's worth checking them out once you have an idea of what you're looking for, and you know, make that purchase when the opportunity is there at, you know, getting it at a good price. But again, I do hope you benefit from this. If you like this video, please make sure to click on the like. And also, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. It does help with my YouTube stats, and it also helps in me continuing doing videos for you guys. Again, I hope you did benefit from this video, and have a good day.